All right, so now we go to the main event, and I do have to be honest. By this time, I was like kind of zonked out. It was a couple of things. Number one, it also just so happened that this pay-per-view and all the other wrestling stuff, because there was lots of wrestling this weekend and everything, was also happening at the same time as Evo 2026. So I was a bit distracted, during the Friday and Saturday. I was still watching, some of the things. I didn't want to commit the whole day to watching, because sometimes Wendy and I do sit and watch the entire top tens and all that stuff. But this time we just, wanted to chill. We didn't want to stay stuck there, especially with the pay-per-view, that commitment, But we did see a couple of things. We did see trailers and all that kind of junk. And what I found out, because the thing is with Fatal Fury, Mark of the Wolves, no, I'm sorry, City of the Wolves, Kenshiro from Fist of the North Star was added to the game, but it was kind of a question of, okay, when is he coming, like officially coming out for you to play as him? Because, it was slated for June. June was wrapping up. What's going on? There's trailers about, he's coming soon. He's badass. He's whatever. But okay, but when can I actually play as the guy? You know what I mean? So between me nodding off a bit during the, Swerve versus Ospreay match, and me finding out that Kenshiro was going to be officially available once the City of the Wolves finals ends. Like once they determine the champion for Evo or whatever, he'll be available to play. I just didn't care anymore. I was like, so now I just wanted this to finish, because it's like the moment this thing finishes, I'm going to hop on and download Kenshiro and do a couple of matches to see how he plays. So I was so distracted. The only thing I remember of that match is that, and it was probably near some good time in, they're both bleeding like hell. And I was even asking Wendy, like, okay, so do these guys take blood thinners or something? Because it was like water. It was like just red water just gushing out of both of them. They were both bloody messes. And that's another thing, too. It wasn't for that, maybe I would have been more invested, but I'm like, oh, they're doing all the blood stuff and, the camera close-ups, and I don't want to see all that and everything. So unfortunately, I don't really remember any particular spots or nothing. I heard the Swerve music going on, so it's like, okay, he won. I think he did, wasn't he? Oh, it was Ospreay.
Nope.
Okay. Yeah.
Ospreay won.
And yes, this was also the men's Owens Hart final. And of course, whoever wins this is going to get a title shot at All In for the AEW World Championship. That's another reason why I kind of knew that Briscoe wasn't going to win, because I don't think they were going to do that. Ospreay versus Briscoe, main event All In, doesn't sound, for better or for worse, like you said before, MJF is the bigger draw. So I guess, you know what I mean. But yeah, so what do you guys think? You probably have a much better play-by-play.
So if I were to call this match anything, I would say it's bloated. What I mean by that is it was literally just, how do I put it? They were like spamming finishers almost the entire match. It was, I counted at least 8 different finishers that Ospreay did to Swerve, and 4 of them were at the final part of the match to win. I mean, granted, it was a good back and forth. It was a great back and forth for so long. But again, like you said, like they got cut open. Both of them got cut open early in the match. So by the time the end of the match, which was, I was even looking up, the time of the match was 35 minutes long. So it was like a 34-minute long match. So they literally were just gushing blood near the end of the match. And Ospreay did this thing as a tribute to Hangman, where he did a buckshot, a hidden blade.
Yeah.
Which was kind of like, what? And then he did the Death Rider, the paradigm shifts. And it was, like I said, it was weird. It was so weird. I was like, this is a weird way to close out the show. Like the match was like very, again, like I said, bloated. Because not only did you just come off the back of a death match, which that match would have normally been the end of the show. Like that kind of like really, really think about it. Like how many pay-per-views has AEW done where like the Collision Clash or whatever, the Stadium Stampede or whatever the fuck, that's usually the last match because it's such a clusterfuck.
Yeah.
But then they did a match after that, which is the Owen Hart finals, and like it just literally I could just see just a strew of audiences truly trying to care. But at this point, I think they were more invested with leaving. And it was just such a bloated carcass of a fucking show and a match. I mean, because at this point, like, they had to have been there for somewhere between 8 to 10 hours. And you could tell the fatigue from the crowd. And I'm just like, I could feel it. I'm like, because I had to watch. Okay, full transparency here, folks. I don't want when I watch these pay-per-views, I kind of split them amongst other wrestling that I'm watching because I do try to marathon them, but then I do marathon them on occasion. So Forbidden Door, I literally set time aside specifically just to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
But my main primary, I didn't watch Forbidden Door live. I watched it the day after, because the day of Forbidden Door was NXT Great American Bash. That whole show was 3 hours long. And the match with Kendall Gray and Lola Vice, which was the main event, was about similar to the same length as this match, but it felt 10 minutes shorter. But because it worked so well, their pacing, their striking, their hitting, their momentum was shifting so much that the audience could feel it. And they're like, okay, who's going to win? What's going to happen? Like, you're invested. But I also think that has to do with the fact that, again, you can have a good show, but you can't have an overdone show. Like, there's a reason when you have multiple bands on a forum, you can't do a single night. You have to split that into a festival, multiple night event. Forbidden Door, some of these matches didn't need to be on the show. They could have been on a Dynamite or a Collision leading up to it. You know, it didn't have to be Forbidden Door. Like I said, the last match did not need to be on the show. The Bandito Moxley match did not need to be on the show. Hell, even the Young Bucks tag team match, that match didn't need to be on the card either. If you cut those 3 matches out, I guarantee you by the time this match came on, everyone would have loved it. But the thing of it is like I was even like having a person who put full time aside to watch the buy-in to the main show, to the end of the show. I was drained. And I looked at the time, I'm like, I've been watching this shit for 4 or 5 hours now. And I'm just like, I should not be sitting here thinking like, when does it end? And I know everyone's gonna be all butthurt and go, but the moves, but the swerve dance, but bruv. I'm like, yeah, okay, that's all great and fine and dandy, but I'm like, you can't force your audience at gunpoint to watch this shit. That's what it felt like. I felt like I was at gunpoint. It wasn't a bad match. It honestly was a great match. It just, again, the placement, the timing, the where and when it was did not need to be here. It did not really even think about it. Did the Owen Hart Cup finals need to be on Forbidden Door at all?
Not really.
Literally, the finalists of both of them are contracted to WWE. To both finalists of the women's and men's were both. All of them were contracted to AEW. They could have just happened on Dynamite. You could have had, what isn't Dynamite like 2 hours? Is Dynamite like 2 hours long or 3 hours?
Yeah,
2.5?
It's 2 hours. 2 hours.
Okay.
They don't have 3 hour shows.
Hours. Okay, so it's a 2 hour thing. What they could have done was they could have had, hey, we're gonna have the Owen Hart women's finals. We're gonna have it on the Collision before Forbidden Door, and it's gonna be 30 minutes, a 30-minute time limit, commercial free. You're like, whoa, and it's at the top of the card, top of the show. Hell yeah, everyone would be invested in that shit. And then say the men's finals will be on Dynamite. Hell yeah. Same thing. 30 minutes, uninterrupted, top of the card. Boom. Everyone's invested. Everyone wants to see that shit. It would have been more over. But to place it here,
You're thinking because they wanted, like the finals to be in a pay-per-view, but what they should have done is they should have, scheduled it better so the finals would have been all in instead.
yeah.
Have the finals in all in, not this one.
Well, they wanted the finals because they wanted the winner to go to all in. So I'm just saying.
But they could have worked it out. They could have, whoever wins here goes all out or whatever's next.
They could have had the finals on the Dynamite after Forbidden Door. They could have made Forbidden Door its own separate thing. All the competitors that were going to be in the tournament cannot be at Forbidden Door. And you would have been fine. But by the time they did these matches, everyone was already bloated. Granted, Maya World, Mercedes Moné, great match.
Yeah.
Placement, timing is everything. And both of those matches would have been far more appreciated on Dynamite than they would have been at Forbidden Door.
And also,
I still
the Moxie versus Bandito, because Bandito, he's not a New Japan guy or whatever.
Yeah, he's the Ring of Honor World Champion. Like, who gives a shit? So it's like, it's dumb. It was dumb. I just, like I said, it was a bloated match, and it was a bloated carcass of a pay-per-view. It had a lot of great moments, and it had a lot of great matches, but it was so overstuffed to the point where it's like, it felt like someone's like, hey, kid, you like Oreos? Yeah. Well, here's a 3-tier Oreo cake. You're like, oh, my dude. Like, that's what it felt like. Like,
and that's the thing, too. We haven't seen it for a while, so we kind of forgot how, like, super long these things are and all that. And that's one of the main reasons we've been, like, not watching them lately, because it's just so, you're like committing almost half the day to it. You're kind of get everything done throughout the day the most you possibly can, because once it's like 6 or 7 or something, bam, there goes the whole fucking rest of the day till like midnight or something,
And that's the thing is, like, here's a good example. If New Japan and Stardom can have big shows that are at maximum 5 hours long, at maximum, and that includes 3 separate 10-minute intermissions, and an in between transfer from pre-show to post-show. So, like, let's say I'll give it an extra 40 minutes. So 40 minutes altogether. 40 minutes of break time. There's no fucking reason you should not be able to do the same. You're a major corporation. You have a major company. You could be able to do it. It's not impossible. If it's like it's bloating too much. And I think that they should have just, like I said, they could have trimmed the fat for a couple of matches. I am happy with some of the representation. I'm happy that New Japan is gone from AEW, because now they actually get to thrive on their own. And I am hoping that AEW does work with Stardom as equals, but their track record says otherwise. I'm hoping that they actually do help elevate them, because I think Stardom, especially Stardom, and especially CMLL, helped elevate AEW at the show a lot. And New Japan did as well. I think they elevated the show into being more than just a regular pay-per-view. But again, that's just my thoughts. What did you guys think? I know, Mark, you didn't see the match. What did you think, Johnny, of the final match, and then your overall thoughts?
Okay, personally, about the final match, I wanted to like this match. And I think on its own, it probably was a good match. But by this time, I was already kind of getting tired, maybe zoning out a little bit. And unfortunately, it was getting to the point where I'm like, oh my God, when is this match going to end? Not because I wanted it to end, but because the pay-per-view is too damn long. It felt like a 6-hour marathon. Now, this is another complaint I have about AEW pay-per-views. If they're going to even go this route of making long 5 or 6 hours long pay-per-view, I think they should have at least scheduled it maybe earlier in the day. because at least in the time zone I'm in, the show starts like around 4 p.m. ish or 4:30 p.m. ish. I forgot the exact time that it started. You know, you have to buy in. So okay, that's kind of already wasting a lot of time. And then the actual pay-per-view is like 5 or 6 hours long. By the time the pay-per-view's over, it's almost time for bedtime. And you still gotta go to work the next day. So it's kind of like you don't really get to enjoy your day that much because more than half the day is watching this pay-per-view. And by the time it's done, it's like, oh my God, it's bedtime. I gotta go to sleep. That
That's the
doesn't
reason
sound like
why
a
I
good thing
really
for a
wish
pay-per-view. Huh?
I wish they would do them on Saturdays instead of Sundays. And that's the thing I hate because when AEW was new, their pay-per-views were on Saturdays. I'm saying, oh, this is cool because unlike WWE, that they're on Sundays, we could, we have Saturday night, we still got Sunday to chill. But no, now they're doing Sundays too, so it's
Well,
annoying.
unfortunately, not all workplaces. Well, okay, my job, I get Sunday off. So for me, it's not too bad, but it's the fact that you still got to work the next day. And it's like this pay-per-view, they put it so late. It's like by the time it's done, it's like you got to go to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they should just air it a lot earlier if they're gonna go for this long. And pretty much like also like what Jack Knight said, there's several matches that didn't really need to happen. Anything that has the Young Bucks in it and John Moxley, we do not need it. We do not need to watch that at all. Just get rid of these people.
I will say the highlight of the show for me, and I think it was worth the price for it, was the Tekla Starlight Kid. I mean, like that really was like, to me, I'm like, that is the proper way to utilize your talent and make both companies look good. Because Tekla isn't the top woman, but Starlight Kid is not the top woman of Stardom presently, but she is one of the most top, like, popular women. She's one of the most over women in Stardom. She's one of the women that not just AEW, but everyone has been eyeing for years and been like, come here, like WWE's on her, wants her. AEW wants her. A lot of companies want her, and the fact that they got to utilize their talent for people who like you guys who are not familiar with her, but got to show off some of her abilities. And even though I've told you guys, I would say she wrestled at maybe 70% of what she's actually capable of. But even at 70%, she still carried and upped the ante in the women's division. Just like Tekla, she could help. She's one of those women who can help carry the division. And that's what you need in a promotion to thrive. You need people who can carry a company, because that's winning championships or getting your name on a poster. That's any idiot with a paycheck can do that. It's about the skills and the ability to keep a company successful. That is actual talent. That's actual skills. And if you don't believe me, ask AJ Styles. He did it for TNA. If he could keep TNA afloat for 10 plus years, despite all of their many, many, many financial idiocies and stupid decision making, if he could keep them afloat, that just shows the level of ability that he has with the other talent as well. But with AEW, they need to focus more on in-house talent. And they need to focus on using their in-house talent to the best of their abilities. I was honestly shocked that like here was a good example. I was thinking, you know what? I was even thinking about this the other day. Rewatching the pay-per-view. You know who would have been a better pick to fight Shota Umino for the IWGP Global title? Because that's the second biggest title in New Japan. It would have been better to have the proto-star, Kyle, have him fight Shota. That would have been a banger match. That would have been crazy, because that could have been a back and forth. But, with Pac, it's like, I'm like sitting here thinking, as soon as you see Pac is going for a belt, you're like, he ain't getting it. We know he ain't getting it. It's Pac. Like, come on. You're not gonna put him on the. You're not gonna give him a belt. Let's be 100% honest here. But again, like there's so many things they could have done better. But from what it was, I thought it was okay. It wasn't the worst Forbidden Door, but it wasn't the best either. I think it was like somewhere right in the middle. Yeah, that's basically my thoughts.
Yeah, I think we kind of covered most of our thoughts because you didn't get to see much of the match, Donnie. And I think we all kind of went with the expression, our thoughts on how long the matches are. And that's the thing. I mean, oh God, like I knew they were long, but I forgot how long they were now that we actually committed and everything. And like, I don't know. Other times I would still check out like the scrum. This time I just didn't care. I'm using Kenshiro, man.
The only thing you need to know that happened in the scrum was Tekla was still wearing the Starlight Kid mask, and she was pretending to be Starlight Kid, and still calling out the president. And apparently, she also did it on Dynamite too, and she still wore the mask and called it out. And that it's basically all but confirmed. Like the battle between Stardom and Tekla is not over. Like I said before, which is good because that's like the most interesting thing happening right now. I'm like, they need to do more with that. Like if Tekla, because right now, here's a good example. Right now, they have 2 slots open for the 5-star Grand Prix. Their big tournament. There's 2 spots open. Maybe Tekla might go into it. Like that would be interesting. Like if Tekla was in the tournament. And then, it ended up the semifinals or the finals being her versus Starlight Kid. That would be shocking. But again, that's me wishful thinking. I always try to be wishful thinking when it comes to booking. But then I also remember it's Khan. It's Khan, and I gotta remember that little boy loves playing with his toys.
Yeah, and then put him away somewhere where they're lost after he gets tired of them too.
Exactly.
Hence the AEW milk carton.
Yeah. Hey, anyone seen Keith Lee in 2 years? No? Okay.
Oh God. Oh man. So yeah, it pretty much wraps it up, I think, guys, for this episode here. Yeah, I think we all kind of agreed that the best matches were definitely the one with Tekla and Starlight Kid, and I would still say the Mercedes Neighbors as My World was pretty intense and everything.
Agree.
And I did enjoy the pre-show ones with with Olympia.
Yeah, I think the pre-show matches were at times better than the main show, honestly.
Even though the difference of opinion, I did like the clusterfuck match. It was fun. It made me laugh here and there. I mean, I could go without the thumbtacks because again, with the blood, with whatever. But I did like all those shenanigans and stuff like that. And I mean, just the Nintendo, man, they're playing with power. You know what I mean? You can't argue with. And I like the extra detail of him blowing in a cartridge first and for putting it as if it would make a difference, and just bopping. But one thing I do have to say though, one thing that does kind of bug me though is because whenever they do this, either in wrestling or movies or whatever other thing, I do feel kind of bad when they actually do mess up or break these old consoles because, they're clearly not making any more of them. And they're like, only so many left out there. So I do feel bad seeing, someone bash a Nintendo with a mallet or some junk for the sake of this or that scene or movie or wrestling or whatever, TV show. And
yeah,
I do kind of feel a little bit,
Yeah. It might have already been broken though. That probably was why they used it.
Yeah, that's true. Mine still works though. That's pretty cool. I don't know if you know, Johnny, but ours still's working. And we did buy Tetris in Vegas. We can play Tetris one of these days. When we come visit.
I still got a Genesis and a Dreamcast that works.
Oh, Dreamcast. Oh, it's pretty cool.
It's a first gen too, so it's a first gen. So if you have the program and CDRs, you can actually make the games. So I have like Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and the Die Hard game.
Oh wow. Yeah. But anyways, guys, that wraps up this episode of the Diamond Cutter podcast. We'll see what other things we do, or we have any other, maybe the WWE ones because they're much shorter and stuff like that. So we don't know what's the next whatever. Maybe All In, depends on the card. Again, these matches with the Thekla one and stuff made me actually want to check it out. So we'll see if the All In card entices us. But yeah, just keep watching the channel. We'll let you guys know. So this is Mark Rodriguez signing off here on behalf of the Diamond Cutter Wrestling Podcast, which is America's #2 cure for insomnia. And if you're having sleep deprivation, you're having the shakes, you're seeing like weird things because you're just haven't slept in 72 hours or whatever, watch the podcast, it'll knock you right out. And as for the other people here, our other members,
Jack Knives from Jack Knives Reviews.
Johnny Rodriguez.
yeah, I think Wendy's yeah, she's zonked out, and Ricky Rocks isn't here, so I'll just try real quick on behalf of both of them. So to close off the show, we got the main man, the man of the hour, the man at the Tower of Power, too sweet to be sour. We got my bro here, Johnny Rodriguez.
Johnny Rodriguez.
Yep. Catch you next time, guys.